Good morning, students. In this today's class, we'll discuss about numbering and addressing in ISDN. So already we know that you have to uniquely identify any equipment in the network. So for that reason, some numbering scheme is required. Okay. For example, if you take some endpoints, so here to have 2 points, endpoint and equipment at endpoint. Okay. So before discussing this numbering plan, we have to discuss how to get some clarity regarding 2 points. One is endpoint, and one is called as equipment at endpoint. Okay. For a given endpoint, it may have n number of end equipments because this is a customer. If you want more number of services, then he should have multiple end equipments. In this example, for this endpoint, there are 4 services are there. So there are 4 end equipments are there. We call them as equipment at endpoints. Okay. So here, while giving the number to these equipments, they have to follow some scheme. Numbering scheme you have to follow. So that we will study in this class. Okay. So the main concept here is assigning a unique number to a end equipment or an endpoint in the network of ISDN. That we'll discuss in this class. So if we take a telephone set, a telephone, a computer or a terminal may be an end equipment in the ISDN. Okay, for a given. So generally we connect these end equipments to T reference point or S reference point, so based upon the service. So already in the previous class we studied about the reference points R, S, T and U, where these 3 comes under ISDN compatible reference points. Only the ISDN compatible equipments are connected to these reference points, whereas R point is called as a non-ISDN compatible one, where the non-ISDN compatible end equipments are connected to this R reference point that we studied in the previous class. Okay. So here the end equipment may be anything. It may be a telephone, it may be a computer, or it may be any terminal equipment that requires some service. Okay. So here a numbering scheme is very much required to identify a single equipment endpoint. It may be single or multiple. Okay. So because with the help of ISDN we are providing a service for multiple services, it may have a single unit or a multiple services if it requires multiple endpoints. Multiple endpoints are required if it has multiple services. Okay. So here identify the specific equipment. So for this endpoint, the endpoint you can take. So for this endpoint we may have different end equipments. Okay, you have to identify that also, whether he is getting service for a telephone or for his computer or for some fax. Okay, after reaching the endpoint, it has to assign to whom it has to connect, which service it has to provide. So we have to, it will be done in 2 levels process. So the identifying the end equipments, okay, is done in 2-level process. So first one is it has to identify the endpoint in the network. So first endpoint is identified. Later, after identifying, that is endpoint may be a telephone or some data network. So after identifying that, the next step is it has to identify the equipment at endpoint. That equipment is maybe a computer, maybe a telephone set, or maybe a fax machine. Okay, that is called. So here to identify the end equipment, it requires a two-stage process. First one is it has to identify the end equipment. In the next phase, it has to identify the end equipment connected to this endpoints. Okay. So here, to identify the end equipments or to identify the endpoints, we use the component of ISDN address. Okay. And to identify the end equipment of endpoints, we use the subaddress, ISDN subaddress. Therefore, it contains two fields. One is your ISDN number, another one is ISDN subaddress. The subaddress is used to identify the end equipment, and this ISDN number is to identify the endpoints. Okay. So the numbering plan for ISDN is all using the following guidelines. So the first guideline is, so it is an enhancement of your telephone numbering, right? If you take telephone numbering, there also you have to uniquely identify the subscriber in the telephone network. Here also the same thing. You have to uniquely identify the end equipment connected to an endpoint uniquely. Okay, therefore it is nothing but enhancement of your telephone numbering plan. Second one is, it is independent of nature of service. Whatever maybe service they are offering, they should have a proper numbering plan. It is independent of routing. Okay, routing means whatever, already we discussed the same point, right? In case of telephone numbering also, independent of routing, you have assigning a number, unique number. Here also, you have to assign a unique number irrespective of the routing. And it is a sequence of decimal digits. Already we seen, right, in case of a normal telephone numbering scheme, we have used some 12 digits, sequence of decimal digits. Here also you have to use sequence of decimal digits for giving a number. So no alphabets are present here, only the numbers are present. Sorry, only the decimal numbers are present for as a numbering plan. There are no alphabets here also. Next one is, it is designed such that interworking is also possible. Interworking is what? Interworking. It is one more topic we are going to cover in this today's class itself. Interworking. Interworking means you have to create some interworking functions such that different networks can cope up and operate easily. For example, if you take analog 1, analog, and if you take digital, and you can take some ISDN. Okay. If you want to operate these three networks, okay, with some compatibility, then you have to go for interworking. So for the interworking also have to provide some numbering plan. Okay. So here it is designed such that the interworking between the ISDN requirements and also using of ISDN number and no other additional digits are addressing to the signals. So there are some of the guidelines given by CCIT for obtaining this numbering plan for ISDN to identify the equipment connected to the endpoint. So if we see the structure of address, it contains some fields. So first one is country code. And next one is national destination code. And next one is subscriber number. And last one is sub address. So totally the length of this number is 15 digits. Out of these 15 digits, according to guidelines from CCIT, the maximum number of digits given for country code is 3. Maximum. It may be 1, 2 or 3 digits. If you take India, use 91. And the remaining is for, and this national destination code is similar to national number in telephone numbering plan. Okay, nothing but your area codes. And last one is the subscriber number, which is nothing but the number what we see in the telephone directories. Okay, and this length varies between 12 digits. And finally, the subscriber address number is, it's a 40 digits. It is a 40 digit one. So this is the exact addressing structure of a numbering plan for ISDN. Okay. So up to here, what we'll take, we are going to identify the endpoints. So up to here, with the help of this number, we are going to identify the endpoints. So with the help of the sub address, we are going to identify the equipment connected to the endpoints. Okay. So these are some of the points. According to the CCIT E163 standard country code may be 1 to 3 digits, and the national destination code is like an area code in case of telephone network and is of variable length. And last one is the subscriber number is one of the normally listed in the telephone directory what we see. And this ISDN is a unique worldwide address to identify an endpoint connection. Okay, with the help of this numbering scheme. And what are the endpoints it may contain? The endpoint may be a single SR T reference points, okay, or one of many T reference points at the same site, or one of many S reference points using DID feature. What is DID? Dial in digits. Okay. And one more point is you can also have this interworking concept, that is a single SRT reference point may also be addressed by multiple ISDN numbers. Okay. Because if it is having some interworking principle, that means the same reference point we can able to access with another compatible networks. That is what is stated in the previous one. Analog signals, analog networks, and digital networks, and ISDN networks. With the help of IWF, interworking function, we can provide interoperability. In that case, you can also provide, you can able to connect one or many end equipments to the same reference points. So the subaddress is a part of the ISDN address and contains some 40 digits, and it is an integral part of your numbering scheme of ISDN. So here the example of ISDN addressing is, so this subaddress is carried by a separate field in this user network interface message. So already we discussed this user network interface messages. We have seen some 3 types of messages: conversation type and message type. So this comes under your message type. Okay. Next one is the subaddress is generally transported to this network, and it is equipment at the destination which analyze the subaddress. Because for a given endpoint, you may connect multiple devices, nothing but multiple end equipments. So after reaching there, it has to identify the based on subaddress. It has to identify and it has to reach the appropriate end equipments in the form of messages. And here we can see one example here. Some structure of your subaddress. Already we seen that you can connect this to your, this is T reference points. Okay, and this is NT2, and here you can have one or many S reference points. You can have one or many S reference points. That is what we have discussed, right? And these are the terminal equipments. With the help of this subaddress, it may able to connect any one of these S reference points. Okay, can able to connect to the any one of these S reference point. This is the structure of the, after reaching to this, what is this? This is the end point. This is the end point. Okay. So I can already seen the already this one, right? NT1, NT2. So if I am going to connect a reference point to NT1 means it is going to able to access only from layers 2 to 7. If I am going to connect to the reference NT2 means it can able to access from 3 to 7 or 4 to 7. That means you cannot able to use the lower 3 layers. Only you can able to use teleservices on building over barrier services. Okay. So from that means here you can able to provide only the teleservices. You cannot able to access the barrier layers. Okay. So this is one of the example for this is subaddress. With the help of this subaddress, you can able to access, you can able to destined to any one of the S reference points. Okay. So this is a typical example for addressing the subaddress. ISDN addressing for subaddressing the reference points. So here an ISDN number identifies a T reference point. That is what we seen, and a subscriber one of the many S reference points. We have seen, right? Previous one. Out of S, so many, it is going to choose one of the reference point based upon this subaddress. So next one is interworking. So what is the meaning of interworking? ISDN has to coexist with other networks for achieving market penetration and success. Not only ISDN, it should also cope up with the other networks. So here we can take an example here. I am dividing it into some parts. So this is, you can take it as some analog network, and I can take here another one as 54 kbps digital network, and I can take one more thing. This is ISDN, which supports 64 kbps. Okay, so here I want to operate all these three, that is parallel, or I can say cooperate. So it should support, an analog should support, can connect with the 64 kbps ISDN or with the 54 kbps digital or vice versa. Okay, so to perform this thing, okay, it should use some function called as IWF. IWF stands for interworking function. So without this interworking function, you cannot able to communicate, okay, with each other networks. Okay, ISDN has to coexist with the other networks for achieving market penetration success, business success. So like this, you have to use some interworking functions so that the other network can able to cooperate. So at least 3 types of networks are involved. So here take an example of 3 networks: analog network, digital network, and ISDN network. So at least 3 types of networks are involved. The analog network, 54 kbps digital network for voice and data, and ISDN with 64 kbps for enhanced services or multiple services. Okay, so you can able to perform this interoperability between the networks with the help of this IWF, interworking function. Okay, so IWF are different for different networks. It is not same. So if for analog to digital, you have to use different IWF function. For analog to ISDN, you have to use different IWF functions. That is not same. For all the connections, it is not same. That's the meaning of these points. So in case previously you have seen different reference points. So similarly here also you have to define some reference points to connect the end equipments to provide a specified services. So here separate reference points have been identified and their interface details have been defined to enable interworking with different networks. So now we'll see the different reference points in case of interworking. So the reference points are R reference point, L reference point, M reference point, and P. So what R reference point stands for? We can use this reference point R when the analog or ISDN, what IDN stands for? Integrated Digital Networks. Okay, when IWF is implemented in ISDN, you can use this R reference point. If it is L reference point means if it is subset or it is, you can call it as a part of the existing network. Okay, if it is a part of whether either analog or IDN is a part of this ISDN, in that case I have to go for a L reference point. M we have to use when I want to provide some added value services. In that case I can go for an M reference point. N means if it is connected to another ISDN. In that case I have to use N reference point. Last one is P. This is for specific resources with ISDN. Okay. So there are some of the reference points that are useful for interworking. Next thing. Typical interworking functions, objectives. So the objective of this interworking functions is, first one is determine network resources of non-ISDN are adequate to meet ISDN service demands. If they are not having adequate requirements, then you have to cancel the call. That is the second point. If inadequate takes place, suitable action to be taken to cancel the call and reroute the call because it is not supporting. So first you have to identify whether it is having the inadequacy. If it is adequate or not. If it is adequate, continue the call. If it is inadequate, terminate the call and reroute the call. And third one is, so mapping signaling message between the ISDN and non-ISDN systems. Next one is ensure service and connection compatibility. So they are the objectives of using interworking for different networks. Next one is providing transmission structure conversion, including modulation techniques and frame structure conversions. And next one is provide error and flow control. Next one is collect data for billing and charging. And last one is coordinate operation and maintenance. And last one is enabling interworking of numbering scheme. So they are the objectives of using this interworking. So for interworking also you have to provide some numbering scheme. So like in IP, PSTN. What PSTN stands for? Public Service Telephone Networks. So like for PSTN we have some numbering scheme. For ISDN we have some numbering scheme. For ISO reference model we have some numbering scheme. So like this, for interworking also we should require some numbering scheme. So but it is so making interworking for numbering plan is a somewhat difficult position because already we have a number of schemes for different services. So here there are two basic methods are there for interworking between the ISDN numbering plan and other have been proposed. So first one is two-stage or port method. Next one is single stage or integrated numbering method. Okay, there are two methods are proposed for providing a numbering scheme for interworking. First one is two-stage or port method. Next one is single stage or integrated numbering method. Now let's see the first one. Port method or two-stage. The name itself indicates it is done in two stages. Okay, so first in the first stage what you have to do? First the calling party dials a number in his own numbering scheme, which takes him to the port to the which the other network is attached. You can call it as a calling party and called party. Okay, so up to here they follow one numbering scheme. So whenever they reach the port means interface of another network. So after that, the user then dials a number in the destination network scheme. So for example, if this comes under ISDN and this comes under digital. For example, take I want to establish a connection between a person in ISDN to a person in digital. Okay, here how to dial the number means So first of all, up to this interface, you have to use the numbering scheme of ISDN. So once it reaches the interface of your ISDN, then after this you have to use the numbering scheme for digital. So 2 steps. So how it is going to happen means, so whenever it reaches the interface, the exchange is going to send some dial tone once again to us. So after the here dial tone, then you have to type the numbering scheme of your digital network. So 2 steps process. For example, if it contains 3, here we are taking 2, right? Example, if you have having 3 stages, 3 networks are there, some analog is there. So in that case, you have to dial the digits 3 times. First, according to the numbering plan of ISDN. So after completing his interface, he is going to listen the dial tone once again. Then he has to dial the digital number scheme. After completing it, he will hear once again the dial tone. Finally, has to dial this analog number, analog network numbering plan. So this is simple, but it takes a lot of time to get the call. So I have to use some delimiters or pauses in between to complete the number. Now you see the process once again. So here the drawbacks in this method is user dialing 2 sets of numbers if they are having 2 networks. If it is 3 networks means they have dialed 3 sets of numbers. So dialing is dependent on the relative numbering plan of the called and calling terminal. So a delimiter or a pause is necessary between the 2 stages, because after the stage by stage it has to have to change the number, right? So for that, a delimiter or a pause is necessary between the 2 stages. So dialing become more difficult if more than 2 networks are involved in establishing connection. 3 stages are there means you have to dial 3 sets of numbers. Okay. So you can write like this also. This is a port, and it is connected to first one, and this is the second one. This is the calling subscriber, and he is the called subscriber. So we call this the interface between the 2 or 3 as a port, and the name port method. So first we have to dial the numbering scheme according to this network. Then you have to use a delimiter. Nothing but something called as some pause. After that, you have to use the numbering scheme for the destination network. So this is the way you have to dial the numbers in case of interworking. This is the first method. What is the second method? A single stage or integrated numbering method. Here we use a prefix here to identify the type of the network. So the single stage or integrated numbering method, in this method a prefix is used to identify a particular network, and thereafter the numbering scheme of a destination network is used. But in the previous case you have to dial 2 sets of numbers. Here I have to, with the help of prefix for identifying the type of network. So after that we are going to use the numbering scheme of the destination network to complete the call. Okay. So as soon as the prefix is dialed, the originator local exchange routes the call to the appropriate networking ports, interworking ports. So thereafter, the dial digits are processed by the destination network. Okay. So this is a process. It is involved in single stage or integrated numbering method for interworking. Okay. In the next class, we will discuss this topic: export systems in ISDN. Thank you.